I'm Kit Stephenson.
And I'm Garrett Dresel.
And this is the Mas Futbol Podcast.
Yo, welcome back to the Mas Futbol Podcast, the number one soccer podcast here in Oklahoma City. I am your host, Ricardo Ulloa, and I am here at the nice Legacy Real Estate Group. Shout out to the sponsors. You know what they do. If you're looking to buy, sell, and invest in a house, like they say, the time is always now. Hit up my aunt, my uncle. They're the best in the business. Shout out to them. But I am not here by myself. I have the international competing futsal club out of Oklahoma City, the number one Rise Futsal Academy. Not just one person. I have both of them. I have what I once called Batman and Robin, but we'll say Batman and Batman, Superman and Batman.
Yeah, we can go Batman.
Batman and Batman.
Batman's good.
My mom's name's Robin.
And Kid Steph. How are you guys today?
Good.
I'm really excited to have you guys here. I know it's really crazy day for you guys. But first, how are you guys?
Good.
Doing
Great.
awesome.
Nice.
Tired,
Yeah.
but everything's great.
But like super excited. You know,
Yeah.
like when you're tired, but you're excited.
Yeah.
That's what we're going
It's kind of
through
like
right now.
Christmas morning, before Christmas morning when you have kids. Kind of
Yes,
like, you know?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, where do we start?
Man, it's been a whirlwind. So, Spain? You want to start with Spain? You want to hear about Spain? Please.
Dude, what did you guys do? You guys took a few kids, families, some kids that have never gone abroad. I took them all the way to Spain to compete against some of the biggest clubs in the world. You guys can now officially say you guys have played and, kicked a ball against Barcelona.
Yeah.
Rise from Oklahoma's international competition here.
Yeah, crazy.
They were pretty good.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Unload.
Oh man, it's like it's still crazy because like every day when I'm driving, we'll end up talking about Spain for some reason or another. Like it was seriously so overwhelming, but like in a good way, right? Like
And just influential. On the whole club and like us as coaches, just it changed things.
Yeah, because we have a pretty set like philosophy. Okay, let me rephrase that. We don't have a set philosophy, but we like our methodology we follow with Santos obviously is, we follow it really hardcore. So to have something that kind of like shakes that, no, it didn't shake it, but like influences, added onto
like
it, right?
Onion, added a layer.
Yes. And it's so different, right? It's like the way they do things over there is very systematic and, so it was just super eye-opening.
Was it any different from seeing the futsal in Brazil? Because we're talking about two different parts of the world.
Yeah, man, they play a little. It is more systematic. I think they have it's you can you see a lot of the same rotations with Barcelona. They're very very tactical. Like they would call a timeout and the coach would set something up, and you could tell when they came out it wasn't super fluid. It was very like this kid was told to do this kid was told to do this. And they're just, unbelievably technical, and they listen so well that they can pull anything off that he asked them to do.
And they're playing at this level, like on a regular basis, right? To be fair, though, right when I came back, and I told Kit this, I wasn't streaming Barcelona youth games. I was still going back and I was watching our Santos youth games that were going on, right? Because for me personally, I see an opening there because they were so structured. Now, the game against Barcelona obviously got difficult. We had them 2-1 at half.
Yeah.
So our style was really pushing the limits of what they are used to, right?
Not only 2-1 at half, but we hit the post three times in the first half. We could have been up.
And we had a plan, but it's like a game of chess. And over there, their coaches are two things. Their coaches are playing this game of chess 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, year round. And then the other thing is they're carrying 12 on the roster, so they have plenty. I mean, you might see, like, for instance, they had a pivot, which is a point player. Normally, either a bigger or stronger kind of player. I felt like probably their best player, like the one that was going to bag goals, played well against us. They go in the semifinals, you don't see the kid. He's sitting there until they need him in like the last 5 minutes, right?
Really?
And so that was another thing. They would make a shift change, and you saw there's no difference.
Changing the team with one or two subs.
Yeah. But there was like no drop in level. Like they could make a full rotation change, and it was still going to be high level.
It was just a different style.
Yes,
so now instead of the pivot man, they're playing it wide, switching it, doing all kinds of things. No, you're okay.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
start from the beginning, because I knew how excited I had Kit like a month before you guys were about to leave.
You had me right after we won.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny.
So now I have you guys back. And that's really what I wanted to touch on. It's just to go.
Yes.
Considering you guys just started in Mustang.
I know.
Some of those guys are just like, where the Mustang? Is that a horse? Like, you know, are you guys right? You know, typical stuff. You know what I mean? But like, wow.
Yeah.
Man,
well,
we went. The first game was actually a girls' game. It was our girls played, and we. Both of the teams I felt like underperformed in the first game, and
which is kind of typical, like in a futsal tournament.
And travel.
Yeah, well, I think that's what we learned. That's what we learned too. Is like we got there and we were talking to some of the other international teams, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we showed up 3 or 4 days ago, so they could get used to the sleep, and because there's a massive time change. So when we went and played that game, I think it was like a 9 a.m. game. It was like 2 a.m. here, so it was like telling our girls to go play a high-level futsal game at 2 a.m. They were just gassed. And we played well. I think we were
Futsal Mataro, which is a really good futsal club. So.
Yeah, so that's where it started. Is like, I mean, from the second we got there, we were like, okay, so next time we do better with this type of stuff. So,
I mean, just even like to get there though, Ricardo. Like, just, not to like back up too far, but huge undertaking, but so rewarding, right? Like for our small gym, you know, we're not funded. We self-fund everything. We work hard. Our families go out and they try to do it. So to get everybody there, amazing. To come back with everybody happy, even better, right? And so I think that speaks to like 3 things. First thing is Rise. Okay. We work really hard on the back end to make this family comfortable and stuff. Second thing is United Futsal. The event and the work that they do, you know, is unbelievable. And then the last thing is Spain. I could live there. So,
beautiful.
Yeah. But
London, not so much. We stopped by London. Maybe that's a story for later. London's not really my cup of tea.
we went on New Year's Eve and Hyde Park.
The fireworks were pretty sweet, but the overall London is it's just crazy.
I've had,
of course,
somebody's called me 3
Make
times.
sure no one's dying, please.
But they Spain was unbelievable.
Sorry guys, sorry.
It's okay. Spain. I just still can't get over how you guys just went to Spain. Competed. And then not only that, but like, where does that put you guys now? Because before, imagine how Spain was just up there. Let's win nationals. But now it's Spain.
Yes.
But now you came back from Spain. So what's next?
Go back to Spain every year.
There we go.
Which is more difficult. I think I like the way they're doing it now. I think it's more difficult to do. I mean, the boys winning that tournament was like... That can't be taken for granted. I mean, it's I don't think we're really looking at it as like, well, now we've done this, what's next? It's like, well, it's going to take everything we've got to pull that off again.
That's what we have to do every year is win there, right?
So basically making a new standard.
Yeah, that's the standard now. Yeah. That's probably the biggest thing we brought back. I think there's obviously a lot of flight hours. And so the whole way back, Garrett and I are like either texting or sitting by each other talking about like, man, this has to change. You know, we've got like, I'm not scared to say it on here, but there's people that like, you know, we've been talking a lot about if you want to be part of something bigger than yourself, you should always be asking like, what can I do for the club? What can I do for my team? Because you know, to be honest with you, the parents that are always asking, like, what are you doing for my kid? That's not a sustainable relationship, right? If they're always thinking about just their kid, because we're always thinking about their kid. So if they let the staff and Rise as a club only think about their kid all the time, we're going to get the best out of their kid. We're going to give their kid every opportunity we can. And so we've kind of gotten to this point where, like, now if people don't want to be part of this and start asking what can they do for the club all the time, then just get out of the way, because there's plenty of people that want to do that. I mean, we proved that this morning at the convention center. We had a huge turnout of parents that just came to lay down courts and work hard. 5
courts.
5 futsal courts. Yeah, shout out to them for sure.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You know, we're sitting there working all morning trying to revamp the convention center into a futsal facility, and you know, we're talking. I said, man, we got to give a shout out to like this Rise family. You know, this army that's out here. You know, people taking off work and trying to, because they understand that that's actually an investment into the future, not only for their kids, but probably their grandkids, right? I mean, we're hosting a tournament downtown
in the Canoe Convention
Yes.
Center across the street from you know what's across the street. It's
Yes.
just it's a new standard.
Yes, Colorado
getting better and better.
Rapids are coming into town. They're bringing their futsal academy.
Which this is going to. If you're listening to this now, it's just last weekend, Saturday. This is going to come out on Wednesday.
Yes. And it will have been a huge success because of the work that's been put in advance, right? And so, it's just all of this. There's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But it's all developing these opportunities for kids, which is what it takes to compete in Spain. Back to Spain, right? Yeah. So every tournament we go to, literally the first thing I always say to Kit, and I was like, you know what I learned this time? He's like, what's that? And I said, we got to play more futsal. Like these teams that beat us, they just play more futsal. It's not better futsal. Like I'm not convinced that Barcelona, I'm convinced that they play better futsal than us now, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced that if we put that much time on the futsal court, that we wouldn't go smack them around and
but
beat
you
them
wouldn't get the
10-0.
same result. It's just futsal.
It's a different style, right? Like I don't necessarily think they like that Southside futsal that first half.
No. That's what I heard you guys say on the passing.
Yeah. I got a little too big for my britches, but I was all confident, like walking past because you have to switch benches at halftime in futsal. So I got to walk past their whole team, right?
But what's wrong with that? Like, come on, like honestly, like, what are you gonna like? Am I gonna not walk like that? Like, here I am.
I'm like winking at them. Yeah, and kind of opened up a little bit.
Yes.
But what did they say?
Yeah, after the game, it was super cool. The United Futsal president, CEO, we were chatting with him after the I think it might have been the next day.
Yes.
But he was back in the back room with the staff, and the Barcelona coaches came in to just say hi. Mm-hmm. And the guy that was the head coach against our 08 boys came in and was just like, whew. And Rob was watching it, and he was like, man, that was a tough game, wasn't it? And of course Rob speaks Spanish, so I don't. But he said the translation was, yeah, man, we really had to suffer in that game. We won, but we suffered for that win. Was the translation, and I was like, dude, hearing a Barcelona coach say they had to, like, you might beat us, but they had to suffer to beat us. Yeah. I thought that. I told the boys, I was like, man, that's a hell of a compliment from a guy like that. I mean, this isn't this is the guy. So pretty cool that they said that.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a testament to like what I was saying though earlier about our futsal in our gym is I feel like we're right there. Like our methodology, the Santos methodology, unbelievable. Fits right into our culture, even here on the south side of Oklahoma City, right? It's just time on the court.
Mas Futsal.
Mas Futsal. Mas Futsal, yes. Absolutely. Mas Futsal.
I know. I told you.
Did you tell him about that?
No. Okay. I tried to do it last time on the intro.
Yeah. Mas Futsal. You did say that at the intro. He did say that at the intro. I remember.
What an English teacher, just messing with words.
But the most important thing of all this is you all are impacting the kids. How different were the kids leaving the plane compared to arriving? Because like that type of experience is not just getting to travel to Europe. Is eye-opening for people that just need to see another world. It doesn't operate like it does here everywhere. Right. But then getting to play against people, getting to match your philosophy against other philosophies. Your Southside futsal, your whatever part of Oklahoma City it is, compared to what it is in Barcelona, what it is to any other. Right. Like that's just like now you're competing against the world.
Well, it was like crazy because these are high-level players we're taking, right? Mm-hmm. They're not like kids that aren't watching the game. So when they're walking into the locker room and you see Benfica, in the locker room across
they shared a hallway with Benfica.
It
was crazy.
They shared the hallway with you guys.
Yeah, they did. But like just from being around us, being around my family, everything for so long, and around Kit, is that like we legitimately love our players and our families and the people that are like involved in what we do, right? And so when we're there and when we're at any event, even at this event, we've spent months working on rosters specifically to experiment and to work with the kids at this event. But so when you're in Spain and it's just you guys, right? No fan, like we can't just walk across the street and go home. You really become close with your players and their families. I think the coolest thing was us kind of letting them kind of take charge a little bit in the locker room. We would give them, so to see those boys and those girls come together and to start formulating plans on their own and thinking about, what they need to do. I think that was like massive for us.
Yeah, there was
Taking
actually
ownership.
one night. I think Garrett and his wife Cass went for a walk, kind of in the town, and I had two of the boys staying with me in my room, and they came in and said, "Hey, do you think is it cool if we use your?" Because I have like a futsal board that we take. It's cool if we use your board for a little bit, and I thought it was just going to be those two, and they were like, "Well, we're going to use the room too." And before, like 5 minutes later, I have the whole team in there.
Not ideal. He
And-
wants to chill.
Yeah.
But it was awesome, man. Because
Yeah.
I was like, "Do you guys want me in here, or do you guys want me to leave?" They're like, "No, you go in your room," because I had like a separation. But anyways, I sit down in there. This is the first time I've admitted, I think, to anybody. But I was like, "All right, I'll leave it alone." I go in there and I'm like, dude, I'm like ear against the
Oh,
wall.
you admitted it to me. Yeah,
Like,
we talked about it.
Yeah, I'm just like listening to everything, man, because it was like hearing those boys go from like little kids that, I mean, you know, they know some tactical stuff with futsal, but even like the things that they were saying in that little meeting, I was like, dude, they're actually starting to get it. This is, some of the stuff was ridiculous, but some of it was really, really good. And the coolest
effort.
part was, the effort was there. And then there was also like, it was the effort from every kid on the team. You always have a couple kids that are quiet. Even those kids were speaking out. We had just lost a game, and they didn't want to lose again. There was no fear left in them. I thought that was cool. I also thought it was pretty cool with the girls. They were terrified when we got there.
Yes.
Like, admit it or not, they were terrified. They were scared about. It was just, you know, it was scary because you're in a different country. You don't know anything about it. Are we out of our league? And they after that first game, they kind of like took one on the chin and lost. And then after that,
A tight game.
yeah, it was a good game. And then after that though, they were fearless. I
Yeah.
mean, Addison Jordan she got the golden boot for the tournament. She ends up scoring like 10 or 12 goals.
Rylan McIntyre became, we can circle back around this, but La Capitana.
Really?
Yeah, and so that was a huge step. My daughter Kennedy, she's a 2010. She was supposed to be in Spain next week for training. We have the Futures program. We got some kids going back to Barcelona to train. And I said, there's no way I can go twice. Now I'm like,
Should have
I
gone
should've
twice.
went
Yeah, right.
But so I said, hey, let's throw her on the roster. You're going to sit and you're going to watch. And she worked very hard. And we called on her. She ended up with 3 goals in the tournament, right? And so these players stepping up across the board was just incredible. So
Yeah, and even like how close they got to the internet. We would be working on things, talking tactics or whatever in the lobby, and we'd look up and it would be all of our boys and all of our girls. And then there was a Japanese team there, and then there was a Spanish team. I mean, it was 3 groups of people.
Australian team.
They
yeah.
couldn't. Yeah, they were with the Australian team a lot. Obviously, they could understand each other. The group from Australia, but it's like a bunch of our kids walking around with the Japanese team. They cannot speak one word to each other.
But they all spoke the same language with
They
their
did.
feet.
Yeah,
Yes,
man,
yeah.
they're just hanging out. It was cool watching all of our kids. That was like outside of futsal.
Yes.
It's like a personal growth thing that I think really helped those kids that week.
Absolutely.
The world's game, huh?
It is, man.
The world's game.
They love it over there.
So how overall did it go for, how many teams did you take?
2.
2, and how did it go for both of them? Sounds like one, how many games did they play?
They played 4 or 5 each.
Yeah, I can't remember.
We coached all day, every day. I don't remember.
Both teams did really well. The girls ended up 3rd in the entire thing.
There you go.
And so that was huge. The boys.
And honestly, the team that got second, I think if we would have come over with a little bit more confidence, we probably can get second.
Right.
The team that won first was a group out of Brazil that was very, 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 very good. I don't think we beat them.
I think the boys went about 500, but we dropped that first game to a really good team out of Australia, the Wolves.
Yeah, Fremantle Wolves.
Fremantle Wolves. Shout out to those guys, man. They like their style. We like their style because you different parts of the world play different ways, right?
Yeah.
So we dropped that game. It was a very tough one. We actually ended up losing in PKs. I'm sorry. We ended up getting in foul trouble.
Yeah, we got
towards
in foul
the
trouble.
end. And then the boys had literally, they played Barcelona, fantastic game, and then we had the game of the tournament.
Man,
Against
the game of the tournament.
Futsal.
Like even the people that were running
Yeah.
it were like, that was the best game.
Yes,
It was incredible.
Yes.
Against?
Against Escola. Or not
Man,
Escola.
I talk to them all the time. They're going to be so mad at me.
Yeah, because you're going to post this and then they're going to be...
I wanted to
Because you're Instagram buddies with the whole group now.
I know.
You better get your Instagram out and look.
But they were great.
It's close to Escola though. I'm trying to think. I keep thinking Escola because there's a club out of Memphis that they used to go by Futsal Escola. So every time this comes up, I think about them. Get it confused. But that game, man. Olesa, that's right. Man, I
love them. We were actually really close with that club too. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, they were awesome. They so we found out with them. Rob was telling that this whole club is up. They live up in the mountains.
No way.
And so they play all their futsal. They compete within each other, and they basically never come down unless they're coming down for these events. So it's even cool for like Barcelona and these other clubs in Spain in that area to play against them because they don't get to see them very often, even though they're like not that far of a drive away. So they're kind of like a popular club. They've got a pretty cool personality about the whole club.
Yeah.
Some funny kids.
But so like what happened in that game is, and we knew that game was going to be difficult, just because we had been watching them. They were really good.
Yeah.
We go down 3-0. This is after we lost to Fremantle Wolves, and we're going in really like after that first game too. We were like, should have won that game. Looking ahead, we're like, we can win these games, and so we're down 3-0 at half. I think we said some things at halftime I can't probably repeat on here, but we kind of challenged the boys. What are we here for? What are you guys all about? We come out, dude, because I rewatched the game. I didn't even realize when I got home that we were down 3-0 in that game. I had no idea until I rewatched it. I texted Kit like 1 in the morning. He's like, dude, we were down 3-0.
Yeah.
It was just out of my mind. And so, but we ended up coming back, getting it to 4-3, goes 4-4, goes 5-5. By that time, one of our players gets a red card. Which you play down a man for 2 minutes. Well, it was like a minute.
Well, you're forgetting fifth attacker.
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
So when when we started to come back, they decided to try fifth attacker, which is when you bring your keeper out. So in futsal,
they're basically just adding another man on the field, taking
they're taking the risk of not having a goalie.
Yeah, but the rules that's what makes it really interesting. So the keeper can only touch the ball one time in your half, in their defensive half. So to play fifth attacker, you have to bring them all the way into the attacking half. And so say like if I'm the keeper, if I play you the ball and then I go into that half and then I have to drop back in to defend, if you play me, it's a foul
or a stop ball.
So it's pretty cool because you have to really take the risk. You have to really put them up on the court, and they started controlling the game. And
we were pinned in.
We were really pinned
during
in.
the red card?
It was 5-5. No, this is before. It was seriously tied.
Really?
It was 5-5, and they chose to do this because we had them under so much pressure.
So they just needed somebody else to hold possession a bit, and then it was harder for us to get the ball. So so they brought them out, and so then it was a weird thing because typically, like in the U.S., we go play these tournaments like this weekend. You'll see fifth attacker a little bit. Everybody only uses it if you're chasing the game. If you're down by 2 and there's 3 minutes, you throw it up and take a risk.
You're down by 4. Who cares? Because you might get one, and that tide in futsal really changes quick.
Right.
But so they'd be doing it when you're the game's
5-5
on the line.
Yeah.
They just were like, well, we're just better against this team.
They call a timeout. They bring them in. They don't even draw it up. They don't have to. They say, hey, we're going to run fifth attacker, and then they come out of the timeout, and we're like, okay.
And when did it hit you? Like, what? Oh, okay. Like, automatically.
Well, you notice it immediately because they wear a different colored jersey, and they just, like, sprint up the court. And you're like, okay. They're running fifth attacker. It's tied 5-5. Like, all right.
It is kind of you're like, man, they're pretty confident.
Bold.
Yeah, that's a bold move to be when we're tied.
But even your player, you got to think about it. Like, because futsal, we talk about it all the time. You heard, obviously, you listen to that podcast. You mentioned it. It's such a cerebral game, right? And
like you said, chess movement. It's basically playing the space game.
It is. It's that, and it's the refs, and it's the coaching. So you can implement the tactic, not necessarily for the physical result, but more for the mental result. So, like he said, as coaches, we're sitting there kind of like, well, imagine what our players are thinking. They're like, wait a second. But I'll tell you what they did is they sat in, we defended well, and we got one. So it made it 6-5.
Miguel Lopez scored from like full court. And actually, I think if I remember right, they started doing fifth attacker when they were up 5-4.
Oh, yeah.
They were actually winning the game. It wasn't even tied. And we actually tied because they were in fifth attacker. We intercepted a pass, and Miguel drives one over all their heads and scored from basically full court and make it 5-5. And then we got the red card. And so they kept playing fifth attacker. We're defending with 3 against 5.
I get called to another game, so I'm like,
our girls were playing, yeah.
So they're running 5 attackers into our 3 defenders, which is I hadn't seen that in that kind of game with that little amount of time left. I'd never seen that situation. But yeah, they're like, hey, they will not start the game unless there's a coach. And I just bounced out. Had no idea what happened. But
So
by that
3
time,
minutes left in the
people
most
were
intense
just
game.
wanting to watch it because it was such a unique futsal situation, right?
Well, we were on the cool court too. There was 2 really, really cool courts
Yeah,
there.
all the courts were cool.
I don't know.
But 2 of them were really
Two
cool.
of them were pretty sweet, but so when these games get over, everybody just starts flooding in where they hear all the cheers, and that court was obviously lit. So I mean, like the whole balcony up above was full. The stands. I think Barcelona was playing pretty quick after that. So a lot of when Barcelona plays, the stands are packed. Their whole club shows up. So it was just a really, really cool experience. And then we ended up scoring.
Yeah.
We ended up scoring to take the lead, and then we hunkered down and somehow, I mean, they hit the post. Deuce Tripp, our keeper, was unbelievable.
He's unbelievable.
And
He has the golden mullet.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I've seen him.
Yeah.
Let me make sure this is recording really quick.
Legend, yeah.
So the cool thing about Deuce in that game, I thought, was we defended really, really well. I'm trying to think of who all was in at the end. I think Juan and
Luis.
Evan. No, Luis was in.
Yes.
And Miguel was in. They were defending really, really well, and they were all shifting together. Nobody was delayed. They weren't leaving any gaps. So any shots were really having to come from outside. So it wasn't like Deuce was having to make great saves, if I remember right, in that game towards the end when we were up. But the thing was when he would make a save, he was just brilliant with what he did with the ball. He didn't put us back under pressure. He would relieve the pressure pretty well.
Take his time.
And I mean, if it wouldn't have been for his IQ, it would have been a lot tougher.
Yeah, because you got to think about it. If they take 6 shots and every time he has 4 seconds when he saves it. If he's freaking out back there and every time he saves it, he's just throwing it down.
It back.
Yeah, you're almost tripling the amount of opportunities they have, and we know it happens when they get a lot of opportunities, right? So managing that, making life difficult, and then having a keeper that is so smart in that moment under pressure, just makes such a difference.
So, but then we play that, and it's like, man, so sweet. We're 1-1. You get that like win under your belt, which is huge, especially in a game like that. It's exhausting. And then we go coach the girls, and they win that next game. So pretty good afternoon that afternoon. And then we were watching Olesa play Barca.
Oh, really?
And Barca just smacked them.
Really?
Yeah.
And you guys hadn't played Barcelona.
No,
So
that
we
was
have
next.
Barca coming up, and we're like, sweet.
I was like, I still think
But we were like, dude,
Of course.
we just, like, if the kids just stick to it, and they
Yeah.
did. We came up with a game plan, and we would make changes. And, I mean, in that game, it was kind of similar to how Barcelona is. We would make
We had
subs.
to.
Well, we would make subs, and there wasn't a drop-off, though. It was like the first time I think I can really say that
Everybody
guys
came
coming
in
off the
ready.
bench. Yep.
And, that was honestly the first time, too, because we're making, I wouldn't say changes, but we're making additions. We're tweaking things within the academy and our system always, right? And as we kind of solidify one area, we move on to the next. Well, one thing we've been talking about is leadership within the academy. We've never had captains for age groups. So it's something we had talked about. It was like kind of on a whim. We kind of just named 2 captains like on the ground in Spain. And so I named Rylan McIntyre La Capitana, and then we had El Capitan, right? Alex Gutierrez. Do you know Alex? Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
And so we kind of I think it was the Barcelona game the first time, we go up to him and say, okay, we have 3 of our 4 court players that we know want to start. We were kind of having trouble making the decision. I think we just kind of said, hey, let's go ask Alex. Let's let him make that decision. And it was without hesitation, boom, he named. And so kind of just a credit to him and the group, because even the kid he named stepped right in to that situation and killed it, right? So
Yeah, he was great. I mean, the thing is, too, that when Alex answered that question, shout out to Alex, because when he answered that question, it wasn't like he just named a name. He's he names a player, and then he's like, because, and he gives a really good reason why. And we were like, okay. So he walks off. I looked at Garrett, and I was like, dude, that's actually a really good reason why to play this kid.
I was
that's
man,
pretty good.
Thanks for making that decision for me, Alex.
Is this Alex Gutierrez? I'm trying to put a picture to the
He plays
name.
for Celtic 08s. He's just an unbelievable player. Very, very, very good.
I need to see the picture. Are you pulling one up?
Yeah, just a good kid. I mean, all of our kids are good. I think that's one thing. It's happened over the years. I think this is a testament to kind of I don't want to ever give ourselves props, but at least our coaching staff and how we run things is we seem to attract these good families, good players, right? Good leaders. So that entire team is just unbelievable.
I think anybody on any given day could be a captain.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the whole team as a whole just stepped up big.
It's funny because like this kid, he didn't have any pictures of himself.
Just playing.
Yeah, the only one he has is from when he's like.
He can probably recognize him.
You know
from
what's
that,
crazy? It's
That's a few years
crazy.
ago.
That's in 2020.
Yeah,
dude, the kid is like 6'1" now.
And some of these kids that you guys have just had for many, 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 many years. It's not just the first run that you've had 6 months.
Dude, with Alex right there. I text Alex and Garrett just a couple of days ago because I was, you know how you end up with like 40 million pictures and videos in your phone. I was just cleaning some stuff out, and I found this video that I put on social media 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, probably longer than that. And it was of Alex. He's a little bitty Alex, and he was playing in a winter league in the Mustang gym, and he rainbows the keeper into the back of the net.
I remember that clip.
Little bitty. Tiny
I remember
guy.
that day. I remember getting a phone call and be like, "Yo, this kid, just Alex." I think it was Evan, and I'm like, "Yeah, that kid's good." Man. Fast forward. What's crazy about him too is he had an opportunity along with a number of our other players. We ended up getting some kids selected for this, but he had an opportunity to go to Argentina. If it weren't for an injury, he would have been trying out for that youth national team. And he's about to head to Colombia. So in 1 year, Spain, Colombia with the opportunity to go to Argentina, which he still might get the call, even though he's so good. But these kids are getting those kind of opportunities that just weren't around. That futsal wasn't around, and now it is, and now there's these kind of opportunities.
None of us got this kind of stuff growing up.
No, I was just like my post on Facebook. I was like, I'm a little envious, but like, I mean, that's a good thing to be envious of what the kids have now because it only means you're doing better.
Well, we're all reinvesting,
honestly,
in the right ways, right? And I don't think there's a wrong way. Like, there is a wrong way. Hang on. Yeah, there's a wrong way. But I think that, like, at least who we run, you are who you hang out with, right? Yeah. And in our group, the people we choose to hang around with are all investing in this for 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the line. This is not a short. And I try to tell these parents this all the time.
It's a long game.
Yeah, we're constantly playing the long game, right? Even in Spain, the rosters we take, the decisions we make are not only to win a tournament, but it's also for when you come back and you're in the gym each week, right? So
it's kind of like you took your daughter, even though she's going to sit there.
Yes.
And it's kind of like what Kit said, if you're not going to help us, just move out of the way because it takes a tribe.
It does.
It takes a tribe.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, kind of like the tribe that showed up today.
Yeah.
To help you guys.
Yes.
What is going on this weekend? You guys have United Futsal.
Yeah, so United Futsal is coming in. They came in last year, but it was during that snowmageddon that we had, so it was a little bit of a struggle last year. We had teams that couldn't get in and that kind of
Flights
thing.
Canceled and stuff. It was still a great tournament, though.
Yeah, it was great, but this year it's all coming off. So this morning we went and I was there about 8 o'clock. Garrett and I were, and we did some pre-marking stuff, but then at 9 all of our parents start showing up, and we just sent out something, was like, hey, we need help, and
I wish I would have known a lot sooner, guys. I'm
sorry. We had 40 something people show up, laid 5 courts in about 3 hours, knocked it all out pretty quick.
Nets up, goals up.
So the whole place is transformed. I mean, it goes from just being a big open concrete room to it's ready to host a futsal tournament.
Beautiful.
Now. Yeah. Just Rise people, man, coming together. All these Rise parents. It was, and it's fun too because we get to interact with the parents in a little bit different way than you normally do.
Right.
So because you guys are all there for the same thing. Everybody's sweating for the same thing, same goal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so we have these teams coming in. It's going to start at 3 o'clock, and we're just going to rock and roll all the way through until Sunday.
From 3 to 10 tomorrow. There's games. So our Rise High School boys play Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill put two teams in.
We put 2 teams
to the high
in.
school division. So tomorrow night at 9.
Both of our teams
start at 9 p.m.
Yeah,
it's the last game of the night. So we'll go 3 to 10 tomorrow, and then 8 to 10 on Saturday, and then 8 to 1 or 2. I think the finals ended about 2 o'clock. But the other cool thing is at 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock on Sunday, we're bringing in like 12 different teams from middle schools of Oklahoma City. So Eddie Wright, shout out to Eddie Wright. Dude,
so
what
awesome, man. Talk about somebody that really is trying to push things forward, not just futsal,
investing in the right way. Like you said, he is incredible for Oklahoma City.
He's a soccer guy too.
Yeah,
big time.
Can't beat having an AD that's a soccer guy.
Honestly,
dude. So, but 12 middle school teams are coming in, and they'll be on all 5 courts after the big event's over. But there are 5 Oklahoma City public schools high school teams, like Northwest Class, and Matt Ross is bringing his kids.
That's awesome.
Mac U guy.
Yep. Capitol Hill times 2.
Santa Fe.
Cookson is bringing Grant.
Grant's in. Santa Fe is not in.
There was 5.
Thank God.
We had North.
God, dude, they win everything.
Give
like they
everybody a chance.
Dude, Santa Fe
everybody a chance, Wes. I'm just talking to him in the gym. I was like, wait. So in the gym, because I was telling everybody, dude, our high school league's gonna be insane. He won both divisions with the boys.
I saw that.
The girls got in the finals. They did really well too, which is great. They're loving futsal, but dude, they're good.
Dude, the level of player that guy has at Santa Fe South. Man, we were
he's the right guy too, man. He's like,
he has really, the right staff behind him too.
He does,
like,
dude.
Abel and all that.
Paco. Yeah, Abel's freaking awesome, dude. They're all it's a great group over there.
Yeah, I mean.
So thank God they're not in the tournament. But we got those high schools, and then that middle school thing is massive too, just because there's courts on, and most of these schools now have their own futsal courts too.
They do have futsal courts, and now they're going to have, it's like playing in a big stadium. Just a taste of what, if you do better, you can end up
go
playing.
Use those courts.
Barcelona or
something. Go use those courts, man. And hopefully by the time a lot of these kids are ready to go to college, they're going to be signing futsal scholarships.
Yes.
That's the next step, right? So
from your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, it's starting to happen. We got kids looking to go to that school out in California. So
futsal on a futsal scholarship.
They just gave 5 full scholarships out.
Yeah, this year was the first year they actually did
Pablo de Silva's
futsal scholarship.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible deal. So if that takes off, which
all these things are connected, man.
Honestly,
like when you do these tournaments, and that's why I always funny. Every chance I get, I'm like, oh yeah, Rob Andrews. I'm sure he loves this too. I'm like, the Mark Zuckerberg of futsal. But he's great. He has like an event planner with Casey. His staff. You talk about staff with Petch and Dodge and all those guys. But what they do with these tournaments is so interesting because they are also looking down the line, right? So when they're planting these seeds with the school systems and things like that, it's because there's a much larger picture of what we're all trying to accomplish, in the game. So,
man, maybe all this can lead to maybe a World Cup for the U.S. soon. But it's like you say, we need
more international
holistically,
courts.
More courts.
We need more international courts.
So there's FIFA just announced that they're going to do a Women's World Cup. So the U.S. made the Men's World Cup this last time. We didn't do very well. A lot of that, and this is a whole different soapbox for a different Mas Futbol podcast, but a lot of the problem is you have a bunch of kids that were really, really good at futsal the whole way through their youth and into, through high school. And then they leave and they go play college soccer, and then they get done and they don't make it pro in soccer. And so then you have the U.S. national team coaches are trying to... I
bet a lot of them make it pro. But the ones that don't...
Yeah. So the ones that don't. So then you have. I didn't say that very well.
I'm like, futsal players can go to college, guys, and go pro.
So the ones that don't go pro, then you've got the futsal national team coaches trying to get these guys who used to be really good at futsal 4 or 5 years ago, right? So then they're getting them back into futsal. We did well. We actually just got back. I think it was Costa Rica. We went to a tournament recently. They did really, really well.
They look good. I mean,
we're coming a long ways with the national team, but
let's bridge the gap.
But it's like that's a question that you eventually have to run into because people, majority, maybe some, I don't know the percentage, play futsal to eventually transition into the outdoor game.
For sure.
But at what point do you ask yourself, maybe it's futsal, not outdoor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're at that point right
now.
I
think so.
Yeah. We're there, I think. Yeah. And there's enough people, I think, that are asking that question. People that are a lot higher up and make more decisions than we make.
Well, doesn't it just seem like an Olympic sport too?
Yeah.
Have you ever watched handball?
Yeah. Honestly, it's the exact same as handball, but with your feet.
Yeah.
They do it in the pool too? Come on. Yeah. You're like, how are we doing on the ground with their feet now?
Yes, exactly. So, and We do have some news that I'll just kind of like sprinkle it out there. But we realized the need to keep people our players in through high school, right? And what we found was, because they are transitioning to soccer, which RISE stands for Revolution of Soccer Excellence, we do this as a tool, that they were going full-time by junior, senior year because they're going to go to college for soccer, right? Now we have an opportunity that we've built in, hopefully, it's not 100% confirmed, that something on the other end in Spain is that hopefully we're going to be able to keep kids in for longer, right? And that'll hopefully be a stopgap until there is college futsal. Which, dude...
That would be so sick.
Yeah, OU would be really good.
Dude, OSU would be good too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
good.
Anybody in Oklahoma would be good. We'd just be
Honestly.
feeding them players.
Yeah, dude, Tulsa. I mean, it makes sense, because then you can also stack scholarships. You know, there's an off-season option for players. So
you play year round.
Play year round.
Snowed in and play futsal.
Yeah, and they all have basketball courts. So.
And then high school, we'd have to see it in high school levels too. To see
He
it
just
in
talked
college,
about that.
so.
Yeah, like on that last thing we did, which would be massive, right?
Yes.
He linked it to like slow pitch and fast pitch softball, both different seasons. Because
beneficial to both. Which
yes,
would be beneficial to both.
absolutely. So
And you could do it like softball starts in like early August, and then they wrap up well before basketball starts. So we could just follow that same exact calendar and be done before basketball needs the courts and get out of their way and go through the winter lifting and stuff, and then get right back into soccer in the spring.
I think we're onto something here.
Man, and it would make money.
It would.
I mean, people, he was saying the other night, we did a radio show with Oklahoma City Public Schools, and he was talking about how it's kind of the American brand of...
I saw that. Such a good clip.
yeah, thank you.
But, man, it's like, it would make money if they would do this, because it's, you hear people all the time talk about, I don't know if I want to watch soccer. It's kind of boring, 1-0, low scoring.
The mayor said it himself.
Not futsal. There's going to be...
Well, maybe he should come out this weekend.
He should.
He should come out this weekend.
He should.
That happen.
Yeah.
But it is, yeah. It's like, it's just one of those things. It's like, obviously, because you've been around so closely with us for so long, where it's really starting to ramp up. And when you can feel like something big is going to happen, and it seems like it's like that, like literally almost every month.
That's
now.
what I was going to say. It feels like it's been like that for years.
Yeah.
For years.
And it just keeps growing and growing. And so, I mean, now it's kind of crazy because we have 2016-17 is like a huge group for us in the gym. That's little babies. And we ended up doing this Friday night futsal thing, man. We had 50 kids registered for that. And so now, because we're working tomorrow night, they're all coming over to watch the games.
Yeah.
So these little kids are getting to watch tournament futsal in a beautiful place after doing it every Friday night for 8 weeks, right?
Right in their backyard.
Right in their backyard. And that is going to stay with them literally throughout their career. They will not forget what they see this weekend. Just because for anybody, even my wife, she was a photographer in Spain for us, and she was like having trouble taking pictures because she was so into the game. And Cass, like she didn't grow up with sports, right? So she's getting all competitive. So these little kids are about to see it, which means we're just so far ahead.
That's
right?
so beautiful, because the kids that are playing, that got to play when you guys were making this, didn't have that opportunity. But it literally, like those little kids, you guys are crawling for the next ones to walk, for the next ones to run, for eventually kids to
compounding futsal.
Compound effect. Yes. Compounding futsal.
That was our episode.
This is so good. This is so good. Wow, dude. It almost makes me want to cry.
Don't cry. I'll cry.
No, seriously, this is...
No, really.
It's
like,
crazy.
It is. And it's just... we've been through tornadoes and pandemics and all sorts of stuff. And
it's crazy, all the stuff that's happened. Like, if people knew like the hurdles that we had to overcome to get a team to Spain, we literally had our first gym. We put everything into this. Garrett and Evan and I and his parents. We were like up on rickety, like we had to go find these like scaffolds, and we're like running these wires, and we put this net up. We laid this court down. We literally, the three of us, put every penny we had in our bank account together. We go buy this
$500.
We buy this crappy court that's like 40 years old, had gum and like.
We're like, this is beautiful.
We're like, we're like scrubbing it on our hands and knees. We put all this stuff in, dude. Save up more money, get futsal balls. We put this whole thing together. We had all these like corny posters on the wall. And we run it for like 3 months and a tornado wipes out our facility.
Dude.
So we're like,
Talk about the ultimate test, right? Like what?
For sure.
She
just
just
had to keep digging in. Just keep like not giving up on it. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
So, and then even to think about, like, you guys were talking about how, like, it feels like it's been this way for so long. Like, it's
like a pimple that's getting ready to pop. Like, I want to pop this pimple, but it's just this pimple's just
That's such a great analogy for it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And disgusting.
Sorry, and the podcast is over.
But they were saying that the other night. The host on the radio show was like, "Man, this thing's just exploding right now." And I was thinking, dude,
You have no
it's
idea.
been exploding for 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been hearing people say like, "Oh, this new thing that's exploding," and I'm like, "No, it's we've been here, dude. We've been doing it. You don't get it doesn't just explode at the time you go to Spain. Like, it took 10 years of work to get there." The great thing about futsal is, I think, the fact that it still feels like it's exploding.
It's such a good thing because
just
it feels new, even
Right.
though you guys have been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, I think it's just a testament to also how effective futsal is. I mean, it still feels exciting. It doesn't feel exciting because it's a new, like, novel concept. It feels exciting because it's freaking awesome.
It's beautiful.
Because it
That's,
works.
that's the
Yeah.
reason why it feels like it's still new. We need to, ride the momentum as long as we can, but I don't think it ever runs out. You look at Spain and Brazil, futsal has the same, like, this whole, like, momentum that it's the same thing there.
Absolutely.
So it's not slowing down. I think some people maybe expect it to, like, well, it's going to fade out.
No,
it ain't fading out.
Well, I mean, just even speaking into like the intricacies of the sport and why it is so amazing that you could go on for hours and hours about it. I'll tell you one thing is when we walked into that locker room and that I was telling you about earlier, and the boys were going over game plans. We had walked out and said, "You guys take care of it. We're going to walk out here and take care of business. You guys deal with it." We walked back in, and to see them, they didn't even know we were in there. They were in that flow state. They were in, and we were just watching them, and it's just on the stadium. There's people cheering. There's 6 courts going on. Yeah, it's insane. And I look at Kit, and I said, "Do you think they've ever had this experience before?" Because that's the experience that a high-level player has, right? Like when you're walking onto the college pitch for a conference final, or you're in a professional environment. To have that and to perform in that is so unique, and that's what futsal provides. Like, you get a glimpse into what it's like to be under so much pressure, but yet still having fun. And you can do that every week if you want, right? And so that's kind of the beautiful part of it. You see futsal players as they get older. Sometimes you're like, "Hey, are they having fun?" Well, yeah, they're having fun. They're just they're not emotional. Well, no, they're not. They're not emotional.
Yeah.
They're not reacting to the difficulties of the sport because they understand it. Whereas, you get our league coming to our league one weekend, and you're pulling people off of each other like, "Yo, relax, dude." Like,
It doesn't have to be played this way, guys.
Yeah, this is not how we play. So it's just about understanding it, exposure to it, and that's what we're trying to provide. Having the biggest league ever here while we're in Spain. I told him it's like we're like coaching against Barcelona, and I'm like, "Hey, Kit, do you think that they're rescheduling high school games for the weekend?"
Honestly,
I'm getting, like, text messages about reschedules, and we're walking out to play Barcelona.
But that's what it takes. And I'll tell you what, that's our superpower at Rise, right? Is we have a built-in league. We have built-in tournaments and training. I'm not convinced that the other clubs around the country are putting in that work that we are. I'm challenging them to. Because here we have an entire army of kids. We had 1,000 kids play futsal over the winter in Oklahoma City. What? 1,000?
Crazy.
So that's what we're developing, right? And so we'll see what happens over the next 3 to 4 years, though. It's a lot of pressure. Like you were saying before this, you guys are under a lot of pressure. It's like,
yeah. Well, I when that miscommunication came in the morning, and then you guys ended up telling me that you guys had to lay out in the futsal court for the tournament, I was just like, Jesus Christ, they're going to be... And then you said, "Yeah, we'll be there at 9. I said, they're going to be busy all day. And then when you guys were a little late, I was like, hey, man, kudos to them, dude. I hope they show up, but if they don't, that's fine because there's huge tournaments going on, too.
Yeah.
After Spain, and then we haven't even talked about what's going to come in June with the national tryouts going on there, too. So, like, come on. Like,
Well,
you guys...
we just had, like, so you have NTC coming, which is incredible.
National training camp.
There's also, national training camp. There's also, we'll have kids from all over the country. A lot of the best futsal players in the country at every age group
Yellow
will be
Cap,
here.
like they're all coming.
They'll all be here. You want to see some super legit players? Stick your head in there during NTC. It's going to be incredible. We'll even have every club gets a one of their their best coach, or they get a nomination every year to send all their coaches to help run NTC under the United Futsal staff. So you're going to see like all the high level coaches from these clubs, plus all these high level players coming in. Rise a lot. Oklahoma City's going to have a bunch of kids in there too, but
you
start watching
the Tokay guys and Yellow Cap guys run sessions, and you're like, they're really good.
Yeah,
the Yellow Cap won in Spain from Atlanta.
Yeah, Griffin Atlanta won the
brakes off of Barcelona.
No way.
Yeah, it's like 12-1 or something.
Super weird.
It was 7-1 or something.
I was like, well done.
Yes,
I loved it.
Yeah,
but they send their players to national training camp because they know it's going to be high level, and you get the opportunity to go to futures in Spain, right? And so.
But there's other cool things happening too. You've got like with the world of futsal. I had a great conversation with Ryan today from Powell. And,
he's so awesome, dude.
Man, that guy, dude. He does.
Heart of gold.
Again, somebody like investing in
Advocate.
the right way. And I know you've done some things with Powell and stuff too. So we've always kind of wanted to figure out a way to be involved with Powell, but since they haven't had futsal, it's like, well, we can maybe volunteer for soccer and this kind of thing, but we haven't ever really found a way to get in. So now we're having these conversations with McLaughlin and with Eddie Wright and with Ryan and there's just a bunch of us that have been having these conversations. But there's very soon there will be a futsal league within Powell. Kind of working out the logistics of it a little bit, but don't be surprised if next year Powell is going to be in the gym running a league alongside the 120 teams that we had in the league this winter, which is another crazy thing. We had 48 teams in our league last year, and it was the biggest league Oklahoma's ever had.
We ended with 107 teams, but that's excluding our 16-17 group that's so big. So
yeah, we probably had 115, something like that teams playing futsal this winter. So next year we'll add Powell onto that. Didn't hear too many. I mean, there's always some complaints. There's always some.
Yeah, someone's always going to complain, but we don't focus on that.
Yeah. But it was a lot of good feedback from the league. It was the playoffs were incredible. The officials got better and better and better as we went through. Couldn't have been happier with the officials over the course of the league.
Hard work.
It's hard to play futsal. It's equally as hard to referee futsal. It's the hardest thing to ref.
Yeah.
So then you throw in that league is going to get bigger next year, and then we're going to throw the whole Powell league on top of that. Dude, next winter when we're having these conversations next winter, it's going to be insane what we're talking about. How many kids are playing futsal?
That's the sport, though. That's the sport.
Mas Futsal.
Yeah. Mas Futsal.
Well, and then I'm still baffled because you throw in high school soccer too.
Actually, so Eddie, he said it on the radio show. I'm assuming we can say it here, but he said that his intention is next year for Oklahoma City Public Schools to have like an inner city, like Oklahoma City Public Schools only futsal league.
That'd be a good, like a pilot project to try to run.
For
it.
sure.
Dude, if they can, I'll do whatever I can to help that come off.
Yes,
if that comes off, now we go to the OSA and have a conversation. Look, it made money. It did this. It did that. It can happen.
Yep.
And we push it at that point. Then we have proof.
And the kids are really good at it.
Right? Competing internationally and whatnot. So.
Well, and even, these kids we haven't even seen yet. I just know for a fact. And, like we were talking about Grant coming in. U.S. Grant. My dad's alma mater. My dad loves that school, right? So glad to see them. And, I'm like, what in the world?
Where do they come up with these players?
Yeah, and it's like, but we see that daily, dude. There's like, daily, I got to go back to the gym after this. I guarantee you I'm going to walk in there. Great family, soccer family. You would know them, but they're in there. Guarantee you they're going to have some family member. And I'm like, oh my God, who's that kid? Oh, he's a 2014. Sweet, we trained Sunday at 4:30.
Yeah.
Because you constantly seeing these families and these kids, and you're like, holy moly. So, this thing ain't going to stop.
We don't want you guys to stop.
It won't.
We don't want you guys to stop.
It can't. It will never stop. No,
It's too much fun.
I told people like when I very first started this because I just went all in. It's literally I haven't had another job. Just what I've done for 12 years.
This is not a job.
Yeah.
If you love it, it's not a job. So you don't have a job.
Yeah, I don't. I still don't. I mean, I wear sweats every day. So, it's like I told people back then. I said, I'm going to be doing this in 50 years. Like this is like my life's work, and I know it's his life's work as well. And other people are starting to jump in and making it something that they want to do super long term. So I think that's the best thing about it, right?
Yeah,
it's like we know we're not going anywhere,
right.
And so we make mistakes. We make mistakes all the time, but we don't have a blueprint. And that's what I think. The more you're around us, like within the gym or working with us, you realize you're like these guys are actually really humble. We're not afraid to change something. A lot of coaches and a lot of owners of businesses and these things, they're set in their ways. We are not afraid to say, that's better than what we do. We came back
in Spain.
We did that in Spain. We came back and completely changed our entire warm-up academy-wide. And now we do the Barcelona warm-up. We're sitting there watching them. We're like,
that works.
I really like that.
Well, we watch Barca, we watch Olesa, and then we watch Toque
from LA.
And they're all doing different. And I was like, with Garrett and I got talking. We were like, dude, we're...
You gotta go? Okay, yeah.
See you, man.
Thank you for
nice
coming.
to meet you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can I borrow your tripod?
Take care.
Yeah, okay. I can borrow your tripod? Yeah, I'll get it to you. Thank you.
What'd you do, man? You break it?
Broke it.
Jeez. There we go. I'm like a Bigfoot. Hey, see you, man.
We're going to get back into the Bigfoot conversation.
No.
I was saving that for the end. Yeah. The balloon talk? Yeah, we're saving that for the end.
Yeah.
They're looking for Bigfoot out there with the balloons.
That's a great theory. No, but I don't even remember where we were. Oh, we changed things. We're humble. We're going to change things because this is such a long-term thing. Why not? I mean, we're not perfect by any means. Every time we go to these things, it's humbling. We might not act like it. At least I don't. But, we definitely are. Like, we go back to the hotel and we talk. When we're talking constantly. In fact, you kind of mentioned it earlier. One funny thing we did was before the trip, we said, okay, I'm going to take a bunch of notes on my own. I'm not going to share them with you. You do the same. And then when we get back,
down.
Yeah. And we're like, well, let's wait a couple days though, like kind of transcribe them and think about them.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like we got back on Sunday. We talked for 4 hours on Monday night. And like I had people calling me and I'm like, I'm on the phone with Kid. They're like, you were just in Spain with him for like 10 days, dude. Like,
just shut up, leave me alone.
Yeah. Sorry, I just don't respond. Because it's just that important, like we don't want to forget these experiences. We want to implement them immediately. If we don't implement them immediately, we want to have a plan as to when to implement them, right? And so this thing's never going to stop.
I love the way you guys are doing it. Have you guys heard the saying, you kind of just built the plane and just are fixing it as it's flying?
No,
as opposed
I like
to trying to perfect
It's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, I love that, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, because that's basically saying, you're just not going to wait until it's perfect. Let's just fly, and if something needs to be fixed, we'll just fix it on the fly and
get where we're going.
Flying. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because we do kind of wing it sometimes. I mean, it just is what, like you said, there's no blueprint. People, and the thing is, sometimes there'll be complaints from people, like, oh, I wish you guys could do this. I wish you could a little bit more organized in this area. And I'm like, dude, this is not a soccer academy where we've got tens and 20s, 30, 40, 50, $150,000 sitting in the bank where we can just like pay to organize everything and have a big staff. This is a handful of people that are digging in for next to nothing for your kids, like on a daily basis, having conversations. I can't even begin to tell you how many times it's been like, 2:00 in the morning and we're having a conversation. We're on the phone with Sam, or we're talking to Evan, or we're just us two talking and just trying to like iron things out and fix things over and over and over. Thousands of hours worth of work. And that's the reason why it's always good to be humble, but I also that's sort of why I have so much confidence in Rise Futsal Academy.
We put in the work.
Because I know if somebody wants to be better than Rise, then do what I do. Do what Garrett does.
Show me the undeniable proof.
Somebody come in and put in the hours that we put in, and I'll listen.
Yes.
But I know there's nobody around. I know it's just not happening.
In futsal.
It's just not happening. Because you go to these tournaments, and I was told the parents the other day in a meeting, we go to these big tournaments like in Orlando. We'll be there this summer, and there will be, dozens of clubs there. Almost every single one of them are backed by a soccer club, which means they have money. So CCS and all this stuff is nothing to them. They can charge each kid $2 a month and fund everything.
In their entire program.
Easy.
Right. Yeah.
That's not how we are. We have to be building courts. We have to be trying to get United Futsal to come do tournaments.
We have to run classes. We have to do rentals. We have to have leagues come off, not just for the developmental side, but for the supplemental side, right?
To sustain it all.
Yeah.
It's every little piece of this, and even then, we're still getting by by the skin of our teeth. I mean, but but we're gonna keep doing that, and we'll even if it's always where we're just barely getting by, that's fine. We'll keep putting in the hours, and so that's the confidence I have in it. Is I know nobody's watching more futsal film. I know nobody's studying more futsal than what we are. I know nobody's doing everything we're doing to try to get better. So I have confidence in that. Like it's gonna be tough to pass us at this point.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really, really hard to do.
For sure,
dude. What I'm hearing is like, it almost seems how hard it is. All that you have to do, the setback just is more so like a tool for you guys. How hard it is to do it just makes you guys grittier. And man,
well, I think that's. It's so funny because like we're so involved in this sport, and sometimes like I was in the Army, and have friends that have served, and do like really serious jobs and stuff. And sometimes I look at them, I'm like, man, I'm just coaching like a bunch of kids, but that's when a little bit of doubt's creeping in. But really, like Eddie said it so perfect the other day. He's like, it is an honor to be called a coach. Like it is an honor. Like when
that was a really cool clip too.
It was super cool, and I'm like, it is such an honor to be able to do what we do. And futsal in and of itself, like we always talk about, is such a difficult sport. So to think that you're going to come in and you're just going to be good at futsal, well, that's not going to happen.
That's what we thought when we started.
Yeah. To think that you're going to come in and you're going to run this club and it's going to be easy, not going to happen. To think that you're going to run a futsal league and be successful and it's going to grow and it's going to be easy, yeah, right. Like, good luck, right? And so all these things we know are just extremely difficult, but they're so valuable. And that's what futsal will teach you. Futsal will teach you to mess up a million times, but to constantly be using that to get better. Because the moment you quit because you think it's too hard, you're never going to be a good futsal player, right? So you're not going to get on the court in Florida. That's right.
We've had players literally that have come in, good players. Won't name any names. I won't hurt anybody's feelings, but I should name names. But that's how I am. I should name names. Just call them out.
It might motivate them to do better. You never know.
No, it's hurt feelings. But we've had good players come in and literally train with us for 2 or 3 months, and then I'm way better at outdoor than I am at futsal.
Or we make a difficult decision, and they don't like it because they think that we haven't put the time in on the back end to make this decision, right? So, and that's when you lose them because they're really good. And they think that every decision should be favorable for them. And
probably because it is an outdoor. I mean, a lot of those decisions.
We hear the word politics like way too much. We like within the gym. Well, is that politics? And we're like, really? No. If it was politics, it would be something you liked. Yeah. Like we treat everybody literally the same and different at the same time. Like there's a standard we hold everybody to, but everything's individualized when it comes to if you're in our academy, if you're in our Forge technical class. Like nobody goes. That's why we have you checking at the window. We're pulling reports. We're seeing who was there. We're breaking down training sessions before and after to reach a desired outcome. That's why we have a curriculum, right? And so those are the things we do so that we can make these difficult decisions that at times will run somebody off.
Well, even like the conversations we have about the individual players. I was having a conversation with one of my younger coaches at Southmore the other day, and we were coaches with us at Rise as well. But I was having this conversation with them, and he was struggling to get the best out of certain kids. And I was like, you're a young coach. It's a typical mistake to make as a young coach. But the thing is a lot of coaches come in and think, this is me, this is my style, and these players are going to adjust to that, and that's going to be it. But if I'm coaching you two, Garrett needs one version of Kit to get the best out of Garrett. You're going to need a completely different version of me to get the best out of you. So I have to have this idea, the style up here, but then I have to get that. I have to bring you into that bubble with one way, and you into he may need somebody to light him up and yell at him all the time. You may need to start.
Love. Yeah,
you may need
give
hugs.
Me some love and patch.
Yeah. So some of these decisions with players, are and we're kind of getting off of Spain here a little bit, but there's even some of these players, we've left kids at home because we know we're talking to these kids all the time in training, and we're watching the little intricacies of what they do in high pressure situations. And I'm like, that kid isn't ready to go to Orlando. The kid's not ready to go to Spain because it's not going to get the best out of them. It's not going to develop them the way it will everybody else because they're just not ready emotionally. to get there, or maybe they're not ready technically, and what I don't want to do is take them and then them be the one that gives up the goal, with a second left, and then they don't want to play futsal anymore.
And we're not getting them every week. And
tough decisions to make.
Yeah, well, and that's what for the longest time I had trouble being called a coach. You can ask him. It's been something I've battled back and forth for a long time. It really wasn't until Florida where I feel like I really just kind of said, I'm gonna fucking coach. I'm like, let's coach, right? But because I was always like, well, I'm really not coaching, I'm managing. And so that's why I kind of like in Europe, they call them managers because, dude, that's what you're doing, right? Like you're coaching and training. And then you're managing.
Coaching and training during the week, but managing during game time.
Yeah, and off the field too. You're a college player. You know how it is. Like coaches have to be able to manage all these different people who are competitive and that have certain goals. That hopefully align with what we're trying to accomplish. And if they don't, we got to manage it, right? And so that's kind of how I look at it. Is we're constantly just managing these players and trying to get that desired outcome from everybody. So,
well. You can't. It's hard for you to bring an outdoor player to play futsal as opposed to bringing a futsal player to play outdoor.
No, it is for sure.
I can see why that would be
difficult. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a harder game. I mean, it's just more difficult to play. That's the reason why really good soccer. But the thing is, a lot of really good soccer players. I mean, even at like our highest levels in Oklahoma, a lot of those players are there. If we're being honest, 90% because they're extremely athletic. And I'm not saying they're not technical. I'm not saying they're not good players at all. But these kids that just have like this blazing speed or are very, very strong or both, they usually kind of gravitate towards the top of these teams, of these clubs. And then we bring them into the futsal court, and it's always funny with our leagues because you watch week one, we'll take videos of teams. Took a video of a team this year. A little girls team came in, and they're I think they do pretty well in outdoor, but they came. It was all athleticism, and they just. They were just watching the ball roll out of bounds the whole game. Played 2 games, and they were so frustrated. The coaches were frustrated. The parents were frustrated. Like, I don't know if this futsal thing is for us. And we're like, give it till week 10. Last week, we're watching them play, and it's like everybody's keeping the ball. There's no more through ball stuff where they're just using athleticism to run. They were playing futsal. I mean, they a long way to go to be really good at futsal, but. Man, a 180 from where they were at before. And I think that's the problem with some of these kids will come in. They're like, well, I'm great at soccer. I'll be able to do this. No, because you use athleticism out there. You have to be athletic to play futsal. But if you depend on athleticism, you're not going to cut it.
And it's even like taking it one step further. I know it's getting super late. I'm sorry.
No.
But, one thing that we are right now revamping our high school section of Rise Futsal Academy for something in the future, right? So we are in stage 1 of doing that in Oklahoma City this weekend. Our high school boys were having a difficult time. We had multiple meetings. We had a really hard one in the locker room that was difficult. And then we had another meeting, and what we keep telling these boys is, like, you play all the time. Like, technical people or kids are diamond. I mean, they're everywhere. And if you're not technical, you can become technical really quick if you dig down, right? So what is it really about these top players? Is it that they're more technical than you? No, probably not. So there's like these intangibles, right?
Well, we use the example of Neymar.
Yes.
Like we talked to our friends in Brazil, and we were like, these guys trained Neymar, developed him. I mean, I think they can officially say they worked with this guy for 6 years when he was a kid. And we talked to them, and it's like, how many Neymars did you have? I had a bunch of names. Like, when you're talking about just technical ability and kids on the court playing futsal, we had 5, 6, 7 Neymars in that age group. The difference with Neymar is like he was said. Like, I don't let you finish, but the way that he carries himself, he was a professional earlier, and
from day one.
Yeah, he was more mature. He didn't play on emotion. He played on a standard.
Eyes on coach when talking.
Right. All those little intangible things.
What do you need from me on the court? What do you need from me in training?
Decision making, all that stuff.
That's part of, I mentioned a little bit ago with the parents and really even then I should have said it's for the club as a whole, the players, the parents, siblings, anybody that comes in and wants to be a big part of this or a small part of this. You're always asking, what can you do for the club? Let us ask, what can we do for the team or the kids or the scoreboard? That's all of our job. But that was part of the conversation with the players, is like, you want to set yourself apart. You want to do what the Lane Warringtons have done and the Colton Haskins and the these other kids that have come through and made it. that's what you stop looking at what is everybody doing for me all the time, and start looking for what can I do all the time. What can I do for my club when my coach is talking? Well, you can shut the hell up and listen and be better, right? Yeah. What can you do when I screw up, or when I get pulled out of the game, or when I'm sitting on the bench? What can I do to help my club? So one of the things that we started a little bit, I guess, before Spain, but we really amped it up in Spain. One of our coaches, John Jackson, came up with this coined this phrase. Yeah, John is incredible. We should have talked about him more tonight. But he started saying, like, man, these kids on the bench, we were coaching maybe in Memphis last year, and they were just quiet, you know. Some of them were sad because they got pulled out. Some of them are just been sitting on the bench for a while.
Some of them were just daydreaming, maybe.
Just, looking, counting. But he's like, how are we going to put these kids on the court? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, if they're not bringing anything more than this right here from the bench, how are we going to put them on the court? They're going to bring that same energy, or at least it's going to take them a second to get going. So that's another thing that we've been pushing a lot with these kids. And in Spain, we were like, we flat out told both teams, if you're not bringing it over here, don't even ask me if you can go in the game. Don't even look at me.
First off, never ask me.
Right, but don't even look at me like you want to go in, and don't act disappointed when you sit your butt on the bench the whole game. If you're not helping the team over here, you're not going to help us when you get out there. So, dude, I thought the boys and the girls both did great in Spain. They were really...
And they're bringing it all back to the gym. That's the main thing. They're bringing these things they learned, all this culture, all these standards and protocols that we're implementing. Now, dude, it's just flooding into the gym. And that's it's so beautiful. Like, it really is.
The one other thing that I remember that we were asking what has changed since we came in, or since we came back, talking about like how they're flooding that into the gym. Something else that they did, and this was something that we actually taught them while we were in Spain, is, we get on them about the bringing energy from the bench. So then they start bringing energy, but it was kind of like pointless energy. It was like cheering, which, I'm not saying that's pointless. They need to be cheering, but it was like just screaming and like, oh, come on, you got to have a touch, or, whatever.
It could have been more efficient.
And we were like, man, it's if you're going to do, cheering is great. Like, bring all that energy, but also let's be effective with our communication. So then we start hearing, man on, and then I'm challenging them more. Like, can we be a little bit more effective than that? So then it's like left shoulder, right shoulder. And it's all this like really effective, good communication. And now they're bringing that back into the gym. So we're watching them in leagues, and it's like, it's effective things that are being said.
It's like an extra person on the field.
If they're getting 100%. Yeah, everybody's got eyes in the back of their head now. Changes everything. So I think that is one thing that those two groups really, really learned and developed when they were in Spain, for sure.
Yikes. If I had a time machine and I could take you guys back to like when you first started this Rise stuff, like what would you tell yourself if you had like just 30 characters? Like, what would you say?
Dude, I'd tell myself the same thing we're telling each other right now.
Yep.
Just don't quit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, no matter how hard it gets, because there's going to be times that it sucks, you just dig in.
Well, my wife gets a little angry at me sometimes because my answer to everything is fine. Like, and Kit will tell you, like, it'll be like 5 minutes before something bad's gonna happen. I'm like, I swear, dude, it's fine.
My wife, I do that too. My wife, it's not fine. The house is on fire. No.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. We got this.
Dude, that's what I would say. I would just say it's fine. Like, you're on the right path. You're doing what you need to do. Because at the end of the day, he said it great, man. The other day, we're having a difficult conversation with a parent, and he said, if when you leave this academy, the only thing we made your kid into was a better futsal player than we felt. Because really, if we're not making them into a good leader and into a good teammate, right? If we're not creating an environment that's producing good people, right? That want to be helpful and volunteer and put in courts. Which my daughter missed school for that. So,
what a terrible thing.
I know. Then what are we doing, right? And so that's my thing, is I know that we're making that impact, because those are the kind of conversations we're having with parents and players. And so I would just say it's fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really, really hard, but you're all right. Don't worry about it.
Dang.
So
all this for a ball.
All of it, man.
All of it for a ball.
Dude, and worth every single minute. Seeing those kids, the way that they like, and I'm rubbing it in Garrett's face a bit here because he had to go coach that girls game. But man, the way that like, I mean, it really was more than that moment, but the way that they celebrated after that Olesa game, you just like, dude, and I'm a big fan of club soccer, obviously a big fan of high school soccer. I coach high school soccer. those kids have never experienced that. I don't care how far they've played, like what they've done with whatever club.
Yeah.
That moment was magical watching those kids celebrate after being like having a
pure.
red card.
It was like, yeah.
That's
Just like incredible moment. It's something you see like after somebody wins the Champions League. I mean, it's just like unbridled joy. They're
never gonna forget that moment.
Yeah.
There might not be another moment like that for a few of those kids in their life. That might be top.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just crazy.
But even like, and that was just like when they were super happy. But just watching our boys walk out there with Barcelona, dude. Because the one thing that was really cool about that maybe one of the coolest things is, I kind of expected our boys to be a little bit like starstruck. Maybe at least one or two when they were walking out to be like, because they walk out in their straight lines and they fan out. And I was kind of expecting them to be like, looking at that badge a little bit, seeing like how cool that is. Not one of them, dude. I'm talking stone cold, straightforward, walked out. They didn't give a shit that they were playing Barcelona. Yeah. They were walking out ready to kill somebody.
Well, and,
it was awesome.
The transformation of the girls team, by the time we were playing the really good team, ended up winning from Brazil. The girls weren't backing down from nothing.
And that was awesome.
And in Spain, it was very rough. I mean, pulling jerseys, a different kind of physicality than we're used to.
Definitely called different. And the games are they're refereed much different over there.
Right. So to see our boys team not backing down, to see our girls team stepping up to these challenges, the proof's in the pudding, man. That's all I gotta say is the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, our girls were special that week. That was I'm really, really glad they ended up getting to go. And the girls that we had come help and join us were just fantastic. We had a keeper.
Oh God, dude!
Did she scream? She would break us out. La Capitana let her start breaking out because this girl's voice would like.
There's a picture of me where she's like in the air like rise, and then I'm like looking at my wife with my eyes like, did you hear that? Like,
did that just come out of her?
Yeah, but dude, like so intense and like moves right into our system and starts directing traffic. This girl Hayden and Kendall. But I think that's not only a testament to the kind of people that we're getting to come to the club, but also to the club for bringing people in. Like he was saying earlier, dude, the Japanese team, the Australian team, the other Spanish teams. We felt like, and we heard from staff that people really loved Rise.
Yeah,
Rise. Yeah, but it was just this cool kind of thing where like. I'm not saying that people were attracted to us or it was a unique group of people that we took, right? That was extremely representative of what we're doing here in the gym. Couldn't ask for more, right? That's what you want.
Yeah.
So they still haven't seen nothing yet. We're coming back.
Yeah, we better. There's a lot of we have the gym is, we had some kids that had stepped out for whatever reason, club got busy or whatever reason they left. They're all coming back in. Last week in the gym, we had 20, 25, 27.
I had 70 kids in 2 of my sessions.
Wow.
So
we had 20-something new kids come out and try Rise last weekend.
Good kids, good players.
Yeah, a bunch of good ones. We picked up one very, very good player, Matthew, we did a camp with Powell. Picked up a little 2010. He's a stud.
He's got a brother who does support team.
Yeah.
So yeah,
those things are working, man.
Yeah, all that, and like you said, all that stuff is connected. Everything from PAL to these leagues to Spain,
outdoor courts, rentals. Because people give me a hard time about rentals back in the day. Not a huge moneymaker, right? But what I always loved about it was it's bringing like tonight, Norman and Celtic was in the gym. They've been killing it every Thursday night, and I'm just looking out there. I'm like, dude, 3 courts full of these kids, all being exposed to futsal. Just because we have a gym that we're managing, right? So when we're sitting there in Barcelona, like rearranging things and trying to schedule things, it's all for a reason. Otherwise, we'd have these things. We literally had to have our phones with us while we were coaching because we're still managing things, that are like 7 hours behind us, right? So, but all for a purpose, all for a reason. So it is connected.
What are you guys gonna do when you guys just don't have enough space for the futsal?
I don't know.
We're going to fix it and keep flying.
It's coming because I don't see this getting any slower.
We're looking for a 4th court right now.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the next step.
Same thing as like when the tornado hit, I guess. And what are you guys going to do? I don't know, but we're going to do something.
Or like the famous Garrett says, it's fine.
It's fine.
We'll figure it out.
There's 400 teams in the league. We'll figure
it's fine.
Well, it's funny because with the leagues, we started working on those in like June and July. And he's really like so we call him OCD, but he's really just like so organized and hardworking, and he's a master scheduler, and he had it broken down. He said, I think we can fit about 67 teams in. Well, when I heard it, I heard 87. Mm-hmm. So I initially overshot by like, because I like to fill things. You know? Mm-hmm. We ended up with, I hit him up like, dude, hit it right on the mark. We're at like 90. You can fit in 3 extra teams, right? He's like, dude, the number was 67.
And that was to like fit them in comfortably. So I knew as they kept coming in. But because I am OCD, I'm watching the registration. Like every 20 minutes, I'm like
tweaking everything and moving things around.
I'm just we go past 65, and I was like, okay, well we can fit a few more. I'll move these times. We'll do this and that.
I'm just hustling on the other end. I need 30 more spots.
So we get to 90, and I call him. I'm like, hey dude, stop trying to get teams. Let's let the registration just die out. If we get a few more, great, but stop trying to get people. And so he did. You know, he was already having some conversations, so we got them in. But then it just like we hit 100, and I'm like, dude, okay, now I'm really worried. I don't think we can fit all these teams in the gym. But we did. And it was awesome.
It's like the airplane thing you said, though, man. Like whatever's coming at us, we're gonna figure it out. We're just gonna keep moving.
Fly.
Yep, fix it and fly. Yep. Love that. I'm gonna use that.
Fix it and fly.
Mas Futsal, man.
Mas Futsal. Wow. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to take in, considering that, you know, what's going on this weekend too.
Yes.
What's coming up.
I hope you can make it in.
I want to. I have to. I wish I would have known a lot sooner.
If you can swing in, make sure you contact us. And
let us know before you come in.
Yeah, okay. I would love to introduce you to Rob and all those guys.
Yeah.
Love to. I would definitely want to swing by, take some pictures, share some content, and
for sure.
Whatever. Like I said, I had a photographer hit me up, and I think I'm just going to tell him, dude, just show up, take some pictures.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just do that. Dude. Wow. So this is some next level stuff. It's kind of surreal to think about what we just talked about.
Yeah.
You know, I bet you guys pinch yourselves all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to next week. I'm gonna take the week off.
Dude, next week, just got to chill out a little bit.
Yeah, because on Sunday the tournament ends, and then we got kind of go into a training pattern. You know.
I mean, we should mention camp. We got a pretty good camp.
Eventually, you guys have to prepare for that June camp, which is just 2-3 months.
We got a cool camp coming before that.
Oh yeah. Just brought this up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Choco coming to town. U.S. national team keeper for many years. Unbelievable.
He's a futsal or an outdoor?
Futsal. Wow. Yeah, so Choco is remarkable, and he's just like an out-of-the-box thinker. He's an artist. He's a fantastic futsal keeper. He's going to come to a spring break camp for us. So
him and John Jackson will do the goalkeepers. Yes, and Garrett and Evan and I will run the court player stuff. Bring them together at the end of every session. It's
trying to score on Choco. I'm gonna line everybody up and be like, okay, I'll give you $400 if you can score on Choco.
Penalties. Everybody pelted at the same time. See how many we can get in.
Dude, he would save most of them. He's incredible.
I'll send you some stuff on Instagram.
Yeah. Send it. I do it. That's one thing that's a little. We talked about playing on the field. Playing as a goalie in futsal is a totally different thing as well.
Probably the hardest position on the court.
Man, was the cool thing about the Spanish, especially the girls. I noticed it big time with the girls. But the technique, it's just a different technique.
Beautiful.
And those girls were awesome.
Yeah, they were.
That girl from Brazil was incredible. But even the girl, what was the
they
club?
all carry 2 keepers too. They all carry 2 keepers that are a little bit different, you know, that might get called in at a certain time for a certain thing.
Maybe one that's better with their feet.
One's a better distributor, right. Yeah. So,
what was the team that we played where we were trying to get the girl to come to the U.S. for college?
That was also Alesa.
Oh, was that Alesa too?
Alesa's team, yeah.
Yeah, their goalkeeper was incredible. Yeah, their goalkeeper was incredible.
So the camp's going to be unbelievable.
Oh, dude, this camp is going to be... Dude, anytime you can have Choco. And we had Choco come in one time and help with...
Santos.
When we had
twice.
Santos come in.
Yeah, he came twice.
Did he come both times? Yeah. But, man, he's just like... So then he was working with City Futsal. He comes in with Santos with us. That's how we haven't met him, was with City Futsal. So we become friends with him then. Well, then he ends up getting a job with United Futsal for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. He was kind of like, man, he's like the energy, right? So I cannot wait to have him come in and be in charge of a camp.
Dude.
Because even with Santos, it was kind of like Barata and the Santos guys were in charge.
Yeah, but Choco, even with the Santos guys, man, they like respect the hell out of him.
Yeah.
You know, he brings that. So, yeah, it's going to be a unique camp that hasn't happened in the city before. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And then we go to June and have NTC. And then we'll host our
Red Dirt tournament.
We'll host a futsal tournament in June. So June and July are going to be kind of like December and January and February have been.
Yeah.
But it'll be It's going to be sweet. NTC, then we'll host our tournament, and then we'll turn around and we'll take
team to Florida.
95% of our club probably will be in
20
Orlando.
teams, I think. No, I'm sorry. 12 teams. 12 to 14 teams, which is a lot of teams that go to Florida, right?
Compared to when you guys first went with, what?
Two
teams?
The first time we
Oh,
went
one.
team?
1, 2, 6.
Yeah. Actually, the first time we went,
8
we took like half
into
of our
12.
kids and joined with Houston.
Yes. Yeah.
We didn't even have enough to get there.
Halfsies.
Like, so I would 0.5 on the first one.
Yeah. We've been doing it for a long time. Yeah.
I'm curious to see which state takes the most teams to the futsal.
It's going to be us this year. For sure. Yeah, hands
Especially
down.
if Rafa takes anybody, it'll be. I can't imagine anybody
Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
taking more.
Yeah.
And he usually takes it. He usually takes some too. Yeah, it'll be.
A couple.
I think it'll be us for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, look what you guys did.
Yeah. We did.
Look what you guys did.
Look what we got ourselves into.
That's funny. No.
Yeah.
Well, this is great, dude.
Seriously, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, and I just wanted to say that, like, I was thinking about this the other day. I think that what you're doing for the community and soccer and futsal, obviously, is so important. I've had a lot of people. Oh, Eric, he had brunette strength.
Dude, he kicked my ass the other day. I signed up. I'm still signed up with him. My goodness. I worked out with him once, and I could not work out for 2 weeks because my back was killing me. And that's just because I have a weak legs. My hip flexors were terrible. I'm working on them. But that guy is legit. He works
level.
With your daughter, doesn't he?
Yes.
She
goes every week, no matter what.
He knows his stuff.
It's so important. Well, but you're interviewing not only people like that, but you're also interviewing these coaches from different schools and different clubs. And I've had a lot of people in the gym who have younger kids that listen and say and are like, "Hey, I love listening to that because it gives me an inside idea of who people really are." And I think that that's so massively important. So I just wanted to say thank you. Like, I think it's a massive service you're doing to the community, and at least for what we're trying to accomplish. So
thank you.
Well done. Yeah, go ahead.
That's the first time I've given it to myself right there.
Yeah. Well, and it's super popular too, man. When I told people the first time, just like during the day, like, I'm gonna go over there tomorrow morning and do the podcast, and everybody's like, "Oh, really cool! That's so cool! You're on it." And when we're doing this, and we're like, "Hey, Garrett and I are gonna go do it together," and everybody's like, "Can't wait for the episode to come out," and they're like, a lot of people listen and really, really care about this. It's something that was needed, I think, too, because the soccer community, there's so many of us, and like I said, we all speak the same language through that, but this is a unique way, I think, of showing everybody and
creating dialogue.
Yeah, because we're like you said, we need a team, it's a tribe, we're all kind of on a different yet same mission, and it all just is for the same reason.
We're small soccer communities, really, like in the grand scheme of things, when you compare yourself to Atlanta, Los Angeles, Dallas, Kansas City, but we're passionate, right? And so if you can imagine if we had this dialogue that you have, if we can just spread that and get people to work together instead of against each other, it can be a really awesome place, I think. So, and I think we're getting there.
Yeah, and it's funny how futsal plays a really big part in that too, because with everything just being outdoor, it's easy for everybody to kind of turn against each other. Everybody's their own opponent. But now that futsal isn't, it kind of breaks those barriers now.
It's a tool.
Yes.
It is.
Now we have, this club mixing with this club, these kids mixing with these kids, these parents mixing with these parents. And
absolutely.
There is no...
there's no boundaries. There's no rules. You get to come in and play, and everybody's new to it. So it's not like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we're happy to be, on that end of things and create that platform. You've got your platform. So we just wanted to say thank you. Like, it's awesome.
Likewise, dude, for coming on and, giving us a little bit of the wisdom.
He has to teach in the morning. Wait, do you have to teach in the morning?
No, I got to work on the tournament.
Day off.
You said you were going to sleep in. He's going to sleep into like 7:15.
Yeah.
This type A. Type A.
This is what it takes. You guys set up the futsal court here, recording at 9 p.m. And you're probably not going to get a break until next Saturday.
I'm going back to the office right now.
Yeah, I'm actually going back to the gym. I got to get back.
Oh, man. Well, this is a great spot to leave it at.
Dude, thank you so much. Seriously.
Of course. I was really excited to have you guys come on because I heard the first one and I was like, it's soccer talk. You're introducing it to them. You're telling them what it's about. And I was like, I can't wait to get into the meat and potatoes when they get with me. I was like, I'm going to get all the good stuff. So thank you. Thank you guys. And I didn't mention this. I meant to mention it before, but I have merch. So I have, I'm starting to sell merch.
Cool.
I needed to plug that in. I'm trying to plug that into every podcast.
Yes.
Dude, I saw it on social media.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
I'm trying to figure out a way to make money.
I got
Somehow
you,
to
yeah.
get support.
Got to.
I got you. Yeah.
I've incorporated a new skill. I've been trying to learn to draw on my tablet. So now every
Nice.
guest that I get, I'll make a custom T-shirt for it.
Cool.
So if you guys have a cool picture of both you guys together doing something silly or just a badass one, or if I find one,
Dude, his wife took 5,000 really cool
take
pictures.
some really good pictures and some really cool lighting.
Plus
You guys
Garrett
send me
Dresel
the
focus
best
project.
2 pictures of each other,
Gotcha.
and I'm gonna digitize them and put them on a T-shirt.
Thank you, man.
And-
That's so cool. That's such a great idea.
But that's like a way also to just like a memorial to
Yes.
each episode, and it's just
You're onto something.
Yeah,
Dude, that's-
I'm
yeah.
trying.
Well
I'm trying.
done.
We all are.
Everybody you bring in here is gonna have they
Yeah.
got like a little group of fans, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured if I can just sell one of each shirt, then that's cool. And
Yeah.
what else? Like it's another skill. Like I like to draw, and then I was like, well, maybe if I incorporate drawing up each person that comes in, it'll work on this skill, and then, well, if I sell it, then yeah. So I don't know.
I love that, dude.
We're
That's cool.
building the plane as we fly, dude.
Exactly. We're gonna send you some pictures.
I'm so sad that we didn't get to talk about Bigfoot and aliens and this big balloon that flew over to find our secrets and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, what if they sucked him up into there? Okay.
no, I have one. Have you seen the rings in Africa? Basically, in the north side near the desert, they think they found where Atlantis is. I'll send it to you.
Please do.
But it's this big, just a crater. It looks like an eye, and that's what they call it, is the eye. But it matches the descriptions that Plato gave on or I forgot who it was that had seen Atlantis.
Whoa.
It's in a circular structure, and it has gaps because that's how they explained it. It's 3 rings with water in it. So they think they found Atlantis.
Oh my goodness.
What do you think?
There you go.
Well, that's an episode on Life After Life.
I'm way.
Life after life, man. Okay. We gotta stop.
Yeah,
we gotta stop.
thank you so much. And hey, we will circle back around for some Squatch talk.
Let's do that. All right. Well, for those that.
You gotta be kidding me.
Thank you, Ricardo.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is another episode of the Mas Futbol Podcast. Peace.